Hi, it's a guy somewhere. Today I'm going to be showing you a super cheap and super efficient way of hosting your landing pages. And when I say super cheap, I mean less than 20 cents a month. And with that, you're going to get extremely high performance. I personally use that for pop traffic, for example. Even if I get very high volume and very high concurrency needs, this method handles the traffic just fine. In order to set that up, we're going to need a landing page. I've got one here that I ripped from a random pop-up that I got on the internet. We're going to need a CloudFlare account. CloudFlare, it's a CDN, content delivery network, and they have a free tier. So that's the one that we're going to be using in this tutorial. And we're going to need a Microsoft Azure account. Microsoft Azure, if you don't know about it, it's the Microsoft Cloud Platform. So it's very, very similar to, for example, Amazon Web Services. And lastly, we're going to need a domain. So I've already bought one from Namecheap for less than $2. So first, let's have a look at the landing page. So you can see it's a nice looking landing page here. And the size is about half a megabyte, if I remember correctly. Let's see, yeah. Half a megabyte. So here I've got two HTML files because this one is actually for local display and this one is going to be deployed online. So I can just show you the difference between the two. The only difference between the two files is that for the local file, I'm using this path, and for the file that is going to be deployed online, I'm going to be using that path. Else that would not work properly. So now let's go to Cloudflare, and we're going to reference this website on Cloudflare. So this is my Cloudflare account. I'm going to add a site. So what's the name of the website? I just typed on gibberish here, so I'm going to add this. Takes a few seconds. Normally it should not be too long. Okay, so now we have to select a plan. So you can select the free one, it works perfectly. I've never ever had any need for the paid plans. The free one is just terrific. So we're just going to select this one. Going to confirm, yeah, one free website, that's what I want. Okay, so now what we're going to do is uncheck this so that we will not be using the CDN for now, because later you're going to see we're going to need to register this in Microsoft Azure, and if we're already using the CDN, then it will not work. So I just want to use the DNS for the moment. I'm going to continue. And now we need to tell the Namecheap that we're going to use the Cloudflare Nameservers. So let's copy this first one. I'm going to my Cloudflare account. So we're going to manage this domain. Now I'm going to tell Namecheap that I want to use specific name servers. So I'm going to use the first one from Cloudflare. Let's get the second one. Okay, it's copied. So I have it here. Let's paste this and save. And normally this change will take a few minutes to get completed, maybe from 5 minutes to 20 minutes, depending on your luck, actually. Usually I manage to get this working in less than 5 minutes, but it depends on the days. So we're going to go back to Cloudflare now that we've changed the name servers. So the setup is completed. And now we're going to set up the hosting in Azure. So let's go to my Azure account. What we're going to be doing now is create a storage account that will accommodate our files. So creating a storage account here. So let's add a new one. I'm going to create a random name like test. We're going to be using East US because it's the cheapest one. But anyway, it's so cheap that using any region will not make any big difference. So we're going to be using standard storage, V2. Actually, we don't need the geo-redundant. We can just select locally redundant storage because everything is going to be served from the CDN, from Cloudflare. So we can just go to the next step. Here, we're going to have to disable the required secure transfer, else the serving through Cloudflare will not work. So we're just going to disable this. But still, when we're going to upload our files to the Microsoft servers, we'll be using a secure channel, but it's just that the secure channel is not going to be required to access the storage account, but that's no big deal because the storage account will not be accessed directly because it will be sitting behind Cloudflare. So let's go to the next step. Okay, don't need any tag here. So we can just review it and create it. So we can create this. And it takes a few minutes to get created. So I'm going to pause the video now and I'll resume it later. So the storage account has been created. Actually, it took less than a minute. You see 23 seconds. It was really fast. So now we need to change a few settings for the hosting to work properly. So let's go to storage accounts. I'm going to select the one that I just created. First thing that we're going to need to do is to activate the static website setting here. So we're going to enable static website, and I want the index document name to be index.html because that's the way I named the page here. So it has to match the way you name your page, and it has to be, of course, a static web page. This hosting method doesn't work for dynamic web pages. If you have dynamic web pages, you will have to use another one. Okay, so this has been successfully applied. So now let's link the domain to our storage account. So we're going to need to create a CNAME with this value. So we're going to take this one because actually this one needs to match the address of the static website, because you cannot use this one, the blob.core.windows.net. You need to use the web.core.windows.net. Let me show you. If we go to the static website page, we see that we have this web.core.windows.net. So I'm going to copy this. We see here that's the value that we have here. So first, what I need to do is go to my Cloudflare account and set up the DNS properly so that we have a CNAME with this value. So let's do that. So I'm going to remove this A value here, and I'm going to add a CNAME for this. So this is my DNS setup for now. I'm not using the CDN, else I cannot register the domain in Azure. I'll be activating the CDN once my Microsoft Azure account recognizes the domain and marks it as registered in Azure. should take some time, so we can check if it's already working. So the domain name is this thing. We're going to register it in Azure, and we need to write www dot at the beginning, else it's not going to work. So I can try to save, and if the DNS is already updated, normally it should work. No, so I need to wait a few more minutes for it to be updated. So I'm going to pause the video again, and I'll resume once it's done. So I've waited some more time, and now the DNS changes should have propagated worldwide. Let's try to link the domain to the Microsoft Azure Storage Account again. Okay, so now the domain is properly linked. Now what we have to do is upload the files to Microsoft Azure. So in order to do that, Microsoft has a very handy tool which is called the Storage Explorer. I'm going to use that to upload the files. So we're going to open the blob container that has been created when we enable the static website setting in Azure. So this is the $web. I'm going to get my landing page here. We can just drag and drop the files there. It will take less than a minute to upload. Let's see the status. Yeah, the upload is complete. So now if we try to browse the page, we should be able to see it online. So let's take this and let's try to browse it. Yeah, we can see the page, and so we are accessing it from the Azure account, the Azure Storage account itself. Now what we want to do is to use the CDN capabilities of CloudFront, because I don't want all my traffic to be hosted from Microsoft Azure. It will not be fast enough. So it's really easy to do from there. We need to go here and on the DNS section, and here I just need to tell Cloudflare that it's not DNS only anymore. I want to use the CDN capabilities. So you see here we have activated the CDN. And now we can check the page speed, and you're going to see it's going to be quite fast. So let's do that. Let's enter the URL here and let's analyze this. And because we've just activated the CDN, it might be a little slow for the first time because the CDN is not loaded yet. So this, Cloudflare is actually fetching the files from the Microsoft servers. But you can already see that it's quite fast. It's less than 2 seconds, and almost all the indicators are at 100%. It's A, 99, 100. It's usually very difficult to achieve that. But if I try to retest it now that the page has been accessed through the CDN should be fully loaded, and the test should be even faster. So let's do this. So now it's fetching the site again. Yeah, you see now that it's fully going through the CDN. It's half a second. It's almost instantaneous. Let's do another speed test using the Google Page Speed Insight, which is quite reliable usually. So let's analyze this. Here again, it should tell us that the page loads really fast. Yeah, we are at 99% performance. It's usually very, very hard to achieve that. And well, you see, that's the magic of the CloudFlare CDN. And one thing that we need to notice here also is that I'm accessing the root of the domain. And why is it working that way? It's actually quite simple. It's because earlier, when I set up the static website in Azure, I told Azure that actually if a file is named index.html, it can just be served as the root of a given URL. So here I've put index.html at the root of my blob. So it's here, it's in the root folder, and it's named index.html. So actually when I'm going to access the root folder for my domain, then it's going to fetch by default the index.html. And that makes a very beautiful URL, because I don't have to put any rubbish afterwards. I just point the user to the root URL of my domain, and it's usually quite nice. It's also something that might increase conversion rates, so it's always good to take. That's all for this tutorial. That's how you host a web page for pennies. And now one last thing that I would like to show you, it's the cost. So if I go here, I'm going to go to another domain on which I host a landing page. If I go there and I go to the analytics section, you can see that last month I had a total request of about 2 million. I think about 100,000 unique visitors, about 9 gigabytes which were served, and out of those 9 gigabytes, 8.2 were actually cached by Cloudflare. So the amount of data which was served through Microsoft Azure was only 731 megabytes. So that's really not much. And so the price is really low. I can show you the price for Azure Cloud Storage Accounts. You see here, so I've selected the same settings that I've used to create the storage account for this tutorial. So it's local redundancy storage and East US region. The prices are in US dollars, and you can see that the storage price itself is 2 cents per month per gigabyte, and actually we're using a lot less than 1 gigabyte here. It's like not even 1 megabyte, so the price is really negligible. There's one more thing that we need to consider, is the price per read operation. So 10,000 read operations it's half a cent, 0.4 cents. But even that, actually most read operations are not performed on Azure, because once things are cached in Cloudflare, there are no more read operations in Azure, so the price is close to zero. Let me show you the prices that I got for my own usage. So going to the home page here, I'm going to select my subscription, go to cost analysis. Let me show you the cost by resource. So here I'm paying $4.39, actually Swiss francs, but the 1 Swiss franc equals $1. So it's as if the price were in dollars here. And you can see that actually the price that I pay is the drive for a virtual machine that I use. The storage accounts amount to less than a penny each, and I use those for landing page serving. This is the cost for this month. Let me show you the cost for March, for last month. And you can see that it's the same. And I've hosted those for less than a penny each. And you can see, for example, that for this website that actually I've had 100,000 impressions. And in the end, it cost me not even a penny. So it's a really fast and really cost-efficient way of hosting your landing pages. So this is how you host your landing pages for almost nothing and very high speed. If you found this video interesting, don't hesitate to like it and to subscribe to my channel. And if you wish me to do a tutorial about another affiliate marketing topic, please let me know in the comment section and I'll be glad to do it. I hope that you will get very profitable campaigns using this technique, and I wish you good luck. Goodbye.